We're back. Time for another edition of the Carolina Insider Rapid Reactions edition as Carolina in yet another close game. A school record 10th game decided by one possession, and it's been about a 50-50 proposition this year, and the Tar Heels get a win this time. 67-66, now 6-4 in those 10 games decided by one possession or less. Our Rapid Reactions edition of the show presented by Modelo. I'm Jones. He's Adam. Let's get to it. Adam, this is a game that we've seen many times already this season. The Tar Heels looked extraordinarily good for the first 12 minutes or so, built an 11-point lead, were shooting the ball very well, primarily because they were getting a lot of layups and dunks in the post. It was impressive. But then Elliot Cadeau got 2 fouls. The Tar Heel offense got bogged down. Pitt got to the free throw line, crept back in the game. A lot of things we have seen before. This game goes down to the wire, and the Heels got the defensive stop they needed. Some great effort plays in that stretch by Vin-Al Lubin, by Seth Trimble, by Drake Powell that all helped Carolina get the win. At the end of the day, I think the Tar Heels would like to be more consistent so that every game doesn't come down to the final possession. But this time they won, and they are happy with that.
You had to win this one.
Had to.
And they did. So that is the takeaway. Carolina started 11 of 14 from the field because Pitt tried to do the same thing defensively that they tried to do 10 days ago when we last saw them. And Carolina was prepared for that, and they absolutely carved it up. And after that, Pitt stopped doing what they had done, and Carolina shot 15 of 40 over the remainder of the game. So you built just enough of a cushion there at the beginning to survive the defensive switch, to survive the foul trouble to Elliot Cadeau again, which was a big story in the game up at Pittsburgh as well. I'm glad the Tar Heels don't see them again in 10 more days because these have been 2 very tight games.
We'll get to, I have an interview with Hubert Davis. We have some of an interview Adam did with R.J. Davis. There was a couple technical issues, but we do have some of that interview, so you'll hear from him as well. Adam, I think individually, Vin-Al Lubin is probably the story for Carolina as far as an individual. His best game scoring-wise as a Tar Heel with 17 points and all of these that you're going to see right here. A lot of this was happening early, and Carolina was making a very concerted effort to get him the ball, and he was finishing.
Well, they had Lubin matched up on a Pitt guard, and Lubin is capable of executing that sometimes with force, like right there. And honestly, he is shooting a very high percentage. When he can get the shot off, a lot of times it's going in. Cadeau did a great job of finding him, and that looked like it was going to be the story of the game for the Tar Heels.
Yeah, and he can play in the post. If you could give Vin-Al Lubin just a few more inches of height, I think he could really be effective, and he can still find ways to be effective down there. It will be interesting to see as the Tar Heels move forward if he is a larger part with some more traditional type of offense, because he can be effective in the post and very effective today. 8 of 12, 17 points, again, most as a Tar Heel.
In just 22 minutes.
Yes, because he had foul issues, yeah, which has been consistent for him this year. If he could stay on the floor more often, that would be good. R.J. Davis with 18 continues to warm up a little bit. I mean, he came into this game, the last 4 games, I think he was 45% from the floor or 46% from the floor, 45% from 3. And you saw some kind of classic RJ. I mean, that's RJ Davis right there, Adam. That's RJ Davis, Adam, knocking in some shots like that. I mean, yeah, that little step to the side, long 3, that's a shot we've seen him make 100 times. And he was efficient again today, including hitting what turned out to be the game winner, a jump shot from about 16 feet that gave Carolina the winning margin. And there it is. RJ with a tough shot. Good challenge by a good player in low, and you can see RJ's fired up as he should be.
Well, and I'm not sure if his answer to what happened on that play survived. So in case it didn't, I don't think it did. He said Carolina did run a set. It didn't work, and so you got about 15 to 20 seconds into the possession and then had to decide to do something else. And he said at that point he felt like R.J. Davis is going to get a shot. And you know what? He did and made it. And who else would you have wanted to take it at that point in time? I think he's your guy.
Yep.
Pitt knows that. Carolina knows that. RJ Davis knows that. And that's what makes him the guy, is that when everyone knows it, he can still find a way to put it in the basket.
So the Heels win by 1. Let's get to my conversation with Coach Davis, part of Adam's conversation with RJ Davis, and then we'll come back and wrap things up, look forward as well. Tar Heels win it by 1 here on the Carolina Insider Rapid Reactions Edition, presented by Modelo. Another close game, and the Tar Heels get the stop they needed at the end, win it 67-66. Coach, you guys have been in plenty of these this year.
What's our record now in one-possession games?
Okay, you're 6-4 in one-possession games.
That's pretty good.
There we go. Just take us through those last couple of sequences and what you feel like your team did well here down the stretch to get this win.
Yeah, I told the team after the game, I hope they have a clear picture of what the little things can do that make big things happen. It won't show up in the stat sheet, but Drake's deflection where they had a lob dunk and we were able to stop them defensively. Then getting into the passing lane, getting a deflection. Seth and Drake diving on the floor, taking seconds off the clock, and they had to take it basically full court. Out of bounds underneath execution. We wanted RJ to get it. If he didn't get it, we wanted Seth to get it because those are our two best free throw shooters. We executed and be able to got the ball in. Then rebounding, everybody rebounding, two hands, being strong with the basketball. And so, yeah, we missed some 1-and-1 free throws down the end. But again, all we needed was one stop, and we got to stop at Notre Dame. We got to stop against UCLA. We got to stop against North Carolina State. And now we got to stop against Pitt at home. And I'm just really, really proud of them.
Coach Van Allen Lubin scored, I think it was 9 consecutive points at one point early in the game. He finishes with 17, which is the most he's had as a Tar Heel. What did you see from him today, and what'd your reaction to his performance this afternoon?
Well, we knew Pitt probably was going to take a look again defensively, switching everything. They did that in the second half. At Pitt, we really struggled to find consistency in terms of high percentage shots. So we were prepared. I mean, we really worked on it, and we wanted to take advantage of our bigs against their smalls, and we were able to do that at the beginning of the game. And so they got out of it. And in that sequence, Vin did a really good job of sealing, catching the ball, scoring around the basket, and really giving us some life. We always want to dominate points in the paint through post and penetration, and Vin definitely did that for us in the post.
You've talked a lot about turnovers here recently. We talked about it before the game. You had just 6 in the game today, and they had 6 points off those 6 turnovers, much lower than what you've seen here recently. What'd your team do better in that regard?
We didn't go for home run plays. You know, I think we had most of them in the first half.
Had 3 early.
You know, 3 early, and then for the rest of the game, you know, we just took care of the basketball. I just was really we have talked a lot about like simple works, making routine plays routinely, and how that plays such a big part in putting ourselves in a position to be successful. I thought we took good shots for the most part, and so I count those as turnovers. But to have 6 total when we had 14 against them the other night for 22 points, that was really a positive for us.
Just 2 more quick things. Kind of quietly, RJ Davis has been looking a little more like the RJ Davis that we've been accustomed. I imagine. Yeah, 6 of 12 tonight, 3 of 5 from 3, has 18 points. What have you seen from RJ, whether it's in games or practices or off the court or whatever, that's helped in your mind lead to some of this success?
No, he's finding a real nice rhythm out there on the floor. You know, having RJ out there on the floor, you know, the 4 years that I've been head coach, I've rarely taken him out because I just feel so confident as a coach having him out there, not just being able to score, but being able to make the right play defensively, having guys in the right spots. When you have a guy that's, you know, older and experienced as he is, it's nice to have that extension out there on the floor, and that's what RJ brings to our team.
Last thing, sorry, I didn't mean to pull the mic away from you there. Defensively, the last couple of games, I don't think you've been as pleased as you were maybe at the beginning of ACC play with your team. Not mind-blowing numbers today, but Pitt shoots 42%. You get the stop when you needed it at the end. What did you see defensively today that hopefully you can continue to build on?
Well, what I liked defensively was the the little changes we made in the game. Like, Lowe was just really good with ball screens, and we came out and I said, look, let's blue, which means let's double his ball screens. And we did that, I know twice, I think 3 times, and it just took them out of their play, and we were able to match up. Then we were able to go 15, which means we're switching everything on the ball. And we had a group in there that was good enough to be able to do that. So just those little changes, that won't show up in a box score, but those are little things that made big things happen defensively. And so being able to adjust in the game and for them to be able to execute is a huge step forward with this team.
A win Carolina really needed, and the Heels get it 67-66. No time to really celebrate those. Carolina's right back on the road.
No, there's time.
A little bit of time?
No, there's a little bit of time. We'll have a good dinner and with the wife and enjoy. One of the things that I have learned in my brief 4 years as head coach is you have to enjoy and celebrate wins because they're very difficult, especially to get in conference.
Tar Heels right back to work, though, Monday night at Clemson. Coach, congratulations on the win, and we'll see you here in a couple days.
All right, thanks very much, Jones. I appreciate it.
Guys, that's Hubert Davis in the Continental Tire Coach's Corner.
What do you feel like got accomplished this week that'll be helpful going forward?
A lot of rest because we was playing like back and forth for the whole month of January. But I just think just our execution and joy. I think our spirit was really good this week, and I felt like we've been missing that. Obviously, losing 4 of the last 5 games, and that's tough. But I feel like we kind of got our joy back as a team, and just the energy was great. Our spirits were great. From everybody, and I felt like that was well needed for that week off. So now we just got to look at it as one game at a time and just keep it rolling.
If you could push a button and change one thing that would take this team from constantly being one possession game every single time to winning a game like this by 8 or 9, what's one thing that would make a difference?
Just our consistency. I think we're a really talented team and a really good team, but we struggle with being consistent, and that's through the first half and second half. So that's one button I wish I could just push, and then it kind of just delivers that message, and we're all consistent throughout the year and just throughout the whole game. But I think our main focus and the piece that we're missing right now is just our consistency. So once we actually key in on that and lock that in, we'll be more than fine. We'll go on the stretch.
That's RJ Davis. The button he pushed today was the game winner. So there you go. That's all you need. RJ, thank you so much. Carolina beats Pitt.
So Carolina wins 67-66. Adam, I will just highlight one final sequence, and that was the final sequence of the game. Carolina's effort was noticeable. Drake Powell denied where Pitt wanted to go on the inbound. Then Allen Lubin knocked the ball away on the entry pass. It was loose. Seth Trimble dove for it. Drake Powell dove for it. Some Pitt guys were on the floor. It eventually goes out of bounds off Drake Powell. Not ideal, but it took a good, I don't even know what, maybe 6-7 seconds off the clock. Forced Pitt in without a timeout at that point to do something different, and the Tar Heels did get a stop on the final sequence. Again, they've had a lot of these. Some have gone well, some haven't, but I thought Carolina's effort was the main event there in that final sequence.
Drake Powell had 3 steals.
He was good tonight.
And I really think he showed what he can be more towards the top of Carolina's defense rather than having to be in the post defending bigger guys, which is not his game. When he's out free throw line and above, he is capable of getting some deflections, creating some transition opportunities for the Tar Heels. We know he can finish them like he did right there. I would love to see Carolina figure out a way, and of course they're limited because of personnel, to be able to get him on some perimeter players and create some defensive opportunities like that, because he showed it tonight that he's capable of doing it. And, by the way, made a couple three-pointers, finished with 10 points to go with those 3 steals.
That tip that you just saw at the end was a huge play where Carolina was down, Pitt had the ball, and Powell got the tip that Carolina turned into a steal late. That was an enormous play defensively down the stretch.
And I think that was a Hubert Davis adjustment to run 2 guys at the ball handler to try to force them to do something other than what they wanted to do. Jeff Capel caused some weird timeouts, and not having one with 7 seconds left ended up hurting him. He had called one much earlier in the half that I got to think he probably wished he had back.
Well, the Tar Heels will take it. They win by 1 in a game they just had to have. We know the Heels have their back against the wall a bit here, and every win will be important from this point forward. Next opportunity is Monday against Clemson. That will be a challenge. Clemson's personnel, they've got 2 bigs, and Carolina does not. So the Tar Heels will have a challenge in front of them, and we'll see how it works out. Big game Monday night, 7 o'clock. We're on the air at 6 p.m. for that one. But for tonight, Carolina wins it by 1, 67-66 over Pitt. Thanks for being with us on the Carolina Insider Rapid Reactions edition, presented by Modelo.